And last week, what was surprising is their offense just wasn't there. Number one last year, a year ago, they were kind of lights out, led by Nolting and Holman. You know, they need more production out of those guys. How do we incorporate Pat Cavanaugh? The guy that was impressive last week was Matt Campbell.
Lineups for the Cannons powered by Ticketmaster.
A fresh and new Boston defense. You got young via the trade, reigning defensive player of the year, Garrett Epple. They had a rough outing last week. How do they bounce back? In the midfield, we already talked about Campbell. All Drenner does is just continue to put up points. Another 2 goals last week, and Kirsch, more of a two-way role. They also got him in that trade from the Whipsnakes. And the attack, Nolting and Holman, quiet last week. Nolting just 3 points, Holman 2. Those are very average days for this team that loves to run and gun, loves to get up and down, play a fast pace.
Jim Stagnita, the head coach of the Maryland Whipsnakes. If there was any doubt which region, geographical area the Whipsnakes were going to be affiliated with, take one look at their roster, and that was the giveaway. So it's the Maryland Whipsnakes this year. It's the Boston Cannons, obviously history there from the MLL. And for the folks here in the Queen City, Charlotte, North Carolina, many of them used to seeing Bryce Young play on Sundays. You will now get to see Bryce Young play on Saturday, albeit defense for the Boston Cannons.
Yeah, not only the names changed, or the name's the same, but just
a lot
completely
changes.
different.
A lot changes.
Yeah.
One of the new wrinkles in the rules this year in the PLL, you can't face off with a long pole. And this face-off matchup with Joe Nardella and his experience against Zach Tucci. You heard from Brian Holman in his conversation with Dana Boyle. They're going to treat the face-off a little differently. It's going to be interesting to see how the Whipsnakes match up on the wings.
And first of all, welcome back, Joe Nardella. Welcome back all of last year with an injury. It's been a while. You got to flip them around here. They're on the wrong sides, but how do Whipsnakes play this in terms of their wings as Tucci wins the first one?
Takes a shot, and Asher Nolting has the backup.
I like that by Tucci. That early shot allows you to save some clock as you substitute behind the play.
Nolting posting up, shoots. The save made by Brendan Krebs, getting the starting goal for the Whipsnakes. He came in for an ineffective Kyle Bernlohr last week, but they give it up on the clear, and the Cannons will get it back. Marcus Holman, reigning PLL Attackman of the Year. Led the league in points last season. Number 2 in points a year ago. Asher Nolting, 32 in blue.
Top shooting offense last season. Tops in a lot of categories.
31% a year ago. This is Pat Cavanaugh, the Tewaaraton winner, fresh off a second straight national championship with Notre Dame. He is reunited with another brother. He leaves Chris in South Bend and joins Matt with the Cannons. There's Matt Campbell, back to Pat Cavanaugh. He left Notre Dame as the all-time assistant points leader. Now his brother Matt. Matt Cavanaugh lost the ball. Krebs out of the cage, but he can't take it away for Nolting. Long possession, shot clock into single digits. Chance here from the outside. It goes wide. That was Connor Kirst. 3 on the shot clock. Cannons will sub. Nolting rolls it away. 5 shots on that opening possession for Boston.
And that's the type of firepower we're used to seeing from this offense, albeit usually they cash in, but peppering the opposing goalie attempt after attempt.
Here's Colin Heacock, Matt Rambo's old running mate at Maryland. Those two reunited. Chanonchuk is 1 in white, one of the best outside shooters in the history of pro lacrosse. Shot on the run, it's saved by Colin Kirst. And now here comes Boston. Garrett Ledman took that shot. Cade Van Raphorst fires a bouncer wide. Nolting closest to the ball when it went out of bounds.
And you better step out on Van Raphorst. He had 4 two-pointers in consecutive games last season.
Here comes Campbell, an all-star as a rookie last year. Over to Nolting. Shot on the run, goes wide. That's Alex Verdaro, second-round pick out of Georgetown. You brought up the comparison during sixes. You said Nolting reminded you of Jokic. Here he is. Posting up done. Skip pass. Verdaro turned away by Krebs.
And that was a Jokic post-up right there, Anish. But his ability to create his own shot, but selflessness in terms of making all his teammates better, and then just from a physical standpoint, he's such a load, he's such a tough matchup.
8 shots already for Boston. Only one for Maryland. Nolting looking for Matt Cavanaugh. Back to Nolting, 9 to shoot. Down to 5, down to 4. Marcus Holman, fist bump after the score.
What gorgeous chemistry between Nolting and Holman. You're going to see Nolting kind of beckon for a two-man game. And the trick is in. It comes to a little two-man game. Whoop, never mind. I'm just going to slip this. And that little lead pass, allowing Holman to run into it, gather momentum, and turn the corner, completely fooled Whipsnakes defensively. And that's where you see the history of two guys that have played together on display.
Not to mention RB, they spend a lot of time off the field, off the PLL season, working camps together, so able to establish that chemistry off the field, and it's a thing of beauty on the field.
Oh yeah.
And Nolting, really took that leap last year in year 2, cut down his turnovers, upped his assists. Zed Williams ties the game, so Maryland hasn't had the ball all that much, but able to get the equalizer.
In transition here, I think it was just too early of a rotation up to Zupicic. You can see Van Raphorst fly upfield, and there's just no second slide, no rotation behind the play. You can see Young has to come all the way across the field. And Zupicic, it's not like he's a known commodity from the two-point arc. That's where kind of early the Cannons defensively, in terms of getting used to each other, there isn't that same level of familiarity.
Now Zed Williams, one of 2 former league MVPs on this roster. He and Matt Rambo.
Alone, right.
Now
Alone.
Rambo.
Sit.
Using that great size. TJ Malone, Zed Williams, behind the back bounce pass, and a shot clock violation. Cannons ball.
Good second slide there by Van Raphorst. As Rambo was turning the corner, TJ Malone's defender slid, allowing Malone to be open. Van Raphorst closed the door there.
Cannons added a big piece on the defensive side in the offseason. Garrett Epple, Defensive Player of the Year in the PLL last year. 3 caused turnovers in week 1. Kirst over to Matt Cavanaugh. Ryan Drenner probes against the short stick. Working on Bernhardt. His pass comes to Pat Cavanaugh. Steps into one, and Pat Cavanaugh has his first goal as a pro.
Always a special moment, grabbing that ball from the back of the cage as a keepsake. One of many to come for sure. But Drenner tries to force feed the crease, it looked like, and the ball just trickles to Cavanaugh. No hesitation, step down, and he's finally on the board with his first goal. I don't.
You don't? Did you just say?
scored
Did you
so
just
many.
say though when he
So
scored,
many.
hey, get that ball? He's gonna remember it forever, and you forgot.
Yeah, I don't know. That ball's in like a sock drawer or something. I don't know. No.
First college goal, do you remember?
I remember my first college game. I didn't score in it. I didn't have a goal. I had 4 assists.
That was Matt Cavanaugh. The Cannons have owned in time of possession here in this first quarter.
Sit down.
Knowlton using the pick from Holman. Question mark, and a score.
This is what makes him so tricky. 2020, last year, 20 plus goals, 20 plus assists. Only player in the league to do it. So I'm going to play you as a passer. I'm going to stay glued off ball. Okay, fine. I'm going to get to my spot. You're not going to prevent that because I go 6'2", 210. So I'm going to get there. And then if you try to push me out, I'll just go with that pressure, question mark, and bury it.
He really took that leap in year 2 to the point where he enters his 3rd year now as a legitimate MVP candidate.
For sure. Absolutely.
A 12-2 shot disparity in favor of Boston. Cannons lead 3-1. Whipsnakes come away with the faceoff. It's Nardella.
Left. Open.
Again, condensed shot clock off the faceoff. Shot on the run, it bangs in. That's Colin Heacock, 2-time PLL All-Star.
He brings a big physical dodging presence to this midfield. And the left-hander just sweeps all the way across the field. Shrugs off his on-ball defender, and then the slide by Ethan Rawl, he just runs through that as well. And there you see the physical dominance. You know, Rawl tries to slide. Heacock's just too much for him.
You know, we wondered what would Heacock be last year in 8 games with the Chrome. Only had 2 goals.
How much was that was Heacock, or how much of that was just, I mean, frankly, just the terrible Chrome offense? I mean, like, who did have a good year with Chrome last year offensively?
Change of scenery. You get to play with Rambo, where there's a lot of familiarity and a lot of past success. Connor Kirst. Cycloning through the defense. Matt Cavanaugh whips it to Knowlton. Initiates the contact with Dunn. Drenner moves it to Holman. Here's Verdaro. Matched with Bernhardt. Knowlton. Good pass. Drenner shot altered by Tim Muller. All 3 close defensemen, former Maryland Terps for the now Maryland Whipsnakes. Shot clock expiring. Holman throws it away. 3-2 lead for the Cannons.
And so much of our talk has been about rookies getting comfortable in the systems. Back to the Vardar, remember, he played for Jim Mitchell at Princeton before going to Georgetown. So he's very comfortable and familiar with the system that Coach Mitchell operates here with the Cannons.
Ledman looking to get around Rawl. Now picked up by Bryce Young.
Who is it?
Here's Zed Williams. And Rapphorst shading him. Picked by Keegan Kahn. Zed spinning. Up top, Ledman. Over to the wing. And that will stay with the Whipsnakes. Rambo, fresh 32.
Alone, right.
Rambo against Epple. Good matchup.
Whoa.
Zed wanted it. Kahn tumbles.
Tumbles, he got crushed by Kirst.
Rambo strong, saved by Kirst.
I mean, Kirst is taking a page out of Gittleman's playbook. Gittleman, the backup, that's his MO, coming out and laying the boom.
Holman's pass goes awry. Chuck the other way. Chuck to Zed on the doorstep, couldn't handle it. He's in the crease.
And Cannons dodged a bullet there. That was a bad turnover by Holman on the previous possession. Credit him for hustling back on defense.
Back right! Back right! Ready to go!
Now Pat Cavanaugh. He's got the short stick, his old teammate Wheaton Jacoboyce. Holman to Campbell. An all-star is a rookie. Right back to Holman. Good ball movement. Nolting now with 12 to shoot. Nolting draws the slide. Skip pass. Campbell steps into one. Bounce shot turned away. It'll stay with the Cannons, and boy, this Maryland team has played a lot of defense in the first quarter.
Yeah, credit them for buckling down.
Campbell again for two. Krebs takes that one away and cycles behind the cage.
And to Krebs. The Cannons have been able to find the matchups they want, the skip passes. I mean, that skip pass from Nolting all the way across the field was gorgeous.
Good, alone.
Williams guarded by Van Raphorst.
Alone.
Zed directing traffic.
Left!
They've got Campbell trapped on defense.
And Cavanaugh.
Rambo's shot, not there. Malone, coming off that 6-point debut a week ago. Williams set the pick on Epple. Malone got top side, but Kirst makes the save.
Breakdown defensively there. That pick totally caught Epple by surprise. Van Raphorst has done a better job of communicating that. Like, that was not an intentional switch. It's a long shift for Cavanaugh.
He's got the matchup with Heacock here. He's going to isolate Heacock. Runs by him. Gives it up to Holman. Right back to Cavanaugh. Heacock stick broke. So now you got an attackman with no stick. Pat Cavanaugh to his brother Matt, who shoots. Krebs covers it up. Krebs whiffs on the clearing attempt. Nolting in pursuit. Final seconds, quarter number one. And time expires. The Cannons possessed the ball for what seemed like the entire quarter, and yet, you look at the scoreboard, it's only a one-goal game.
Yeah, too many missed shots by Boston. They were able to generate a ton of quality looks. 16 shots, only half of them, 8 on cage. They need to do a better job of challenging Krebs moving forward.
Nardella and Tucci at the face-off X. Cannons dressing a face-off man. And Nardella wins a face-off. Nardello
Look out.
is a souvenir, and hopefully nothing else. Whoa.
Alone. Your pipe.
Rambo against Epple. Rambo looking to get to that left hand. Spun back to the right, fires with the right and scores.
And just another breakdown defensively for the Cannons. You can't double team the ball and then leave it. So you can see Rambo, Fairman's gonna come over, double team, so Epple recovers and then Fairman leaves it. So if I'm Epple, it's like, hey, what are you doing? I was fine there. I didn't really need the double team, but if you come, you gotta talk me through what you're doing there.
Nardella wins the faceoff. Again, he gives you the chance to play make it, take it lacrosse.
Alone. What are we?
Out of the box, Keegan Khan.
Good, alone, Craig, fine.
Was on that great Maryland team in 2022, which ran the table. Chanonchuk. Save, Kirst, Khan, rebound, Kirst with a dazzling save. Now the outlet up ahead to Young. Holman sweeps across. Van Raphorst defended by Khan. They've got him trapped on a defense. Khan runs off with Van Raphorst.
Left side of your screen, you're going to see the back-to-back acrobatic saves by Kirst.
Nolting. Bodies up, done. Inside roll, it's not there. Holman, his pass intercepted. Colin Squires, the former Denver Pioneer, the other way. Rambo looking for the cutter. Roman Puglisi. It's on the ground, picked up by Campbell.
This is exactly the pace the Cannons want.
Turbos ahead, doorstep, Kavanaugh missed a bunny.
This is the pace that the Cannons want, and so if you're Maryland, if you don't cash in there, you're just playing into their hands.
Tied at 3. Cannons only shooting 3 for 17. Nolting and Drenner. Campbell's pass too high, errant throw for Holman. A turnover for Boston, their 7th.
Yeah, weird space there on that possession for Boston. You could see them trying to set up this two-man game between Knowlton and Drenner, and everybody else was just kind of clumped together on the opposite side, just standing around.
Yeah, that was the messaging coming from the sidelines, RB, from the offensive
Alone!
coordinator. They got to be better with their spacing.
Fine,
They're
Kane,
so
alone.
clumped in there. It's
Alone.
too tight. You can't see your friends.
Alone,
right
coming
and left.
now. Hung.
Here's Zed Williams. Behind the back, post-up goal.
The PA announcer took the words out of my mouth, Anish. Are you kidding me? When you know when Williams drives up this left side, it's either a question mark or behind the back. And Van Raphorst guessed wrong. Once he gets to this spot, he knows his hands are free. He can whip that over his shoulder and use Van Raphorst as a screen. No shot for Kirst on that ultra quick release with a lot behind it.
And Maryland with its first lead of the game. Got to look at the gorgeous Charlotte sunset. Nardella wins the face-off, regains his traction.
It's
Jacoboys.
because Tucci pushed his sleeves back down. He's got to go back to the sleeveless look, Anish.
Got to go with what works.
Alone, Bryce. Alone.
TJ Malone matched up with Bryce Young.
Go.
Malone, the Big Ten Offensive Player of the Year. And he continues his torrid start in the PLL.
It's too easy. This is just too easy. If I'm TJ Malone, I'm like, really? It's just a simple two-man game behind the goal. A big little action. You got to work through this. You got to communicate through it. Jacoboy sets a solid pick, but where's the off-ball help? Where's the slide? Total breakdown defensively. And credit Malone for doing everything right, but just that's way too easy.
2 goals in 29 seconds for the Whipsnakes. A 4-0 run for Maryland. And a timeout by Brian Holman with 8:22 to go in this first half.
Introducing PLL.
Let's go! Good job, baby. Good pick. Okay, pick. Let's go. Let's go.
TJ Malone, when he started at Penn State, was Grant Ament's understudy. Those two are very close. And as you saw Malone's game evolve, and when he was finally healthy, his last couple of years at Penn State, he was as dynamic of an attackman as anywhere in college lacrosse.
And the fact that he fell to the Whipsnakes in the 3rd round, unbelievable.
One, it speaks to the depth of the draft.
Yes, naturally, but like for them to be in a position to get him, I mean, he had 6 points last week. That's the first real action I've seen them run for him. The first time. I mean, looking back at the tape last week, he got all of his 6 through just the natural flow of the game. Some in transition, playing in the gray, a rebound here and there. I mean, they have wanted a true quarterback to pair with Rambo and Williams, and now they got their guy.
And what hurts the Whipsnakes out of the gate, obviously the injury to Tucker Dordovic, the Rookie of the Year in the PLL last year. That's a face-off violation on Nardella. Here's Pat Cavanaugh. Got his first goal as a pro in the first quarter. We've seen the breakout game from Schellenberger last week, 8 points. O'Neal last night. That's Matt Cavanaugh with the shot. Will this be Pat Cavanaugh's coming out party?
And if not for those two, I mean, TJ Malone scored 6 points.
You're right.
Like,
Puglisi against Pat Cavanaugh. Inside to Nolting, dropped the ball in the crease. Jake Bernhardt gets it up ahead. And that's an unforced error.
and Bryce Young laid a hit on Puglisi. There is an emphasis on player safety in terms of defenseless players. No flag there, so I think the referees determined that he had enough time to react to that.
Cavanaugh with a bouncer. Nolting fields the hop. Defended by Muller. Working a little two-man game with Pat Cavanaugh. Nolting looking for Matt Cavanaugh. Now back up top to Connor Kirst. Still plenty of time on the shot clock. Holman, catch, release, cash.
How was Pat Cavanaugh gonna fit into this offense? Coming from the box, Jim Mitchell, one of the most creative minds. It took him a week, but you could see how Cavanaugh is attacking and operating from multiple areas of the field. Here they put him behind, you're gonna slide to him, pop away from pressure. I'll just find the reigning attackman of the year. High heat, cannons, climb back to one.
Cash App powering the athletes under the helmet. That was Marcus Holman, future Hall of Famer, 300-plus goals as a pro. Last year, 44 points to lead the PLL, and he was the attackman of the year. 2 goals on 2 shots. And that is a face-off win for the Cannons. Bernhardt had to take it because Nardella jumped last time, and
I think he intentionally violated there.
It doesn't matter, right? Because he's not going to take the next one
Exactly.
anyway.
And basically conceding that possession.
Go on! Adds another wrinkle to the face-off strategy, doesn't it? Matt Cavanaugh against Ajax Zapatello. 3rd overall pick in the draft. Zapatello, Big Ten Defensive Player of the Year, won the Enters Award as a defensive player. Holman rounds the corner. Zapatello dives, but it's a shot clock violation.
checking to see if there was any sort of loose ball infraction or a push. Otherwise, it's a shot clock violation.
They're looking to see if it hit the goalie, which would then reset the shot clock. Jackson Moore.
Going! Alone, check. Alone.
Long dodge takes him to X. Two-man game with Rambo. Good job defensively by the Cannons. Epple, defender of the year in the PLL last year, creating havoc.
What a save by Krebs. That's the Cannons want to do. Cause turnover on one end, get it to one of their two-way midfielders. Trainer, beautiful job pushing in transition, and a nice skip pass to Nolting. Krebs was just up to the task, but that's exactly what the Cannons want to do stylistically from one end to the other.
Heacock, Ledman, and Morrill the midfield right now for the Whips. Rambo, Williams, and Malone at attack. Rambo saw a swarm of blue, draws a flag. Now Morrill. Far side Malone, Zed Williams has a couple already. Zach Goodrich picks him up. With the shot clock winding down, we'll get the penalty.
Cannons foul number 14, 30-second technical hold.
Once Rambo got the switch that he wanted, it's before this. This is after the flag. But he got the switch on Epple, and as he turned the corner, you can see Goodrich kind of hook him.
Goodrich plays with a bit of a mean streak. Physical defender, one of the top shorties in the PLL. Ledman and Chanenchuk threats from the outside. Rambo spins it, Channy from the outside. Catch your breath.
That's the look you want, though.
Malone back to Rambo. Gets it back, Zed Williams off the bounce. It's not a motorcycle, it's a chopper. Ledman to Rambo, even strength. Keegan Kahn couldn't get any mustard on it. Terrific outlet to Trainer. He's got Matt Cavanaugh. Cannons want to run. Van Raphorst got the trail check by Squires. Muller pinballs away from trouble, and now Krebs will clear. Chanenchuk runs by his man, flips it to Rambo.
Alone, sit.
Epple trying to get into the body of the former MVP.
Who is it? Kate! Right!
Heacock, Tornadoes back. Now it's Malone, 20 to shoot. Ledman against the short stick Trainer. A lot of congestion in front of the goal. Chanenchuk against Fairman. Shot clock at 8. Heacock shot saved by Colin Kirst.
Beautiful look by Chanenchuk there. You could see him kind of manipulating the defense with his eyes. Quality look there for Whipsnakes. Kirst, his 7th save on the day.
Now remember that shot disparity between the Cannons and Whipsnakes after the first quarter? And now it's only 5. Cannons are 4 for 23 shooting. Whips 5 of 18.
And it just feels like the more the game stays at this pace and kind of low-scoring game, like that's a Whipsnakes kind of game.
Timeout, Jim Stagnita. 1:54 to go, first half. Cannons jumped out to a 3-1 lead. And then it's been a 4-1 Maryland run since then.
Good luck. Yeah, shoot over here. Keep. You get back on that? All right, it's good luck. Hey, who's covering TJ? Bryce? All right, the pick's you got to be at X. All right, pick's got to be for you. We're not going whip coming out. We're going because they're pushing out on everybody. So let's just get into what would be. Let's go with Raptor and okay. 14 Charlotte. And then let's get into if nothing happens or we get a shot at the end line, he goes to end line to picks for him. Whoever has a shorty. Hey, you got to move that quicker. Yeah, the two, one pick one. Right?
Yeah, remember after the picks separate, if they jump out, we can get you on the throwback. There we go.
Let's go. Let's get one here.
Dare I say a more mellow Jim Stagnina, Anish?
Seems that way.
We're only in week 2. Give them some time.
You can hear them talking through matchups. I mean, there's a clear initiative to get Malone more involved, more active. So they got this 14, a 1-4-1.
Yeah, Bryce Young tried to deny Malone. Malone through traffic. Ball had a little English, moral. Feet in front, Malone, doorstep, slam dunk.
Nice little look by Jackson Morrill. You know, picked up late last season in a trade with Chrome, now Atlas. But Malone just kind of parks on the crease, and the Cannons lose him in their recovery. So he had that initial dodge, went to the cage, nothing happened. Morrill finds him, and then a little English, little twister there to sneak it by Curse and change the shot trajectory there. Basically, it was either behind the back or twister. Those are one of his two options.
Two goals for Malone, building off that 6-point debut. Tucci hits the deck. Squires had it, lost it. Now Zapatello ran into an ambush. Squires cleans it up.
Jack!
Less than 90 seconds to go, opening half. Both teams seeking their first win. Earlier today, the Atlas beat the Chaos. And New York right now at 3-0. And also has by far the best goal differential in the PLL. Keegan Khan from X as Young hung up. Malone gets topside. Kirst denies. Malone lost his stick. So did Goodrich. Cannons can essentially hold for a final possession.
Oh yeah, 20!
At what point do you go?
Right, a hair under 20. You want to kind of have two bites at the apple.
Pat Kavanaugh to Holman. Kirst. Holman from the outside. That's a 2 off the crossbar. You heard that one in Ballantyne. Van Raphorst from beyond midfield. And the Whipsnakes defense locked down. They held the Cannons to just 1 goal over the last 17:31 of that first half.
We're close, though. We're close, Anish. I mean, Boston, the shooting, put things in perspective. Holman's 2 of 4, so the rest of the team's 2 of 22. And that bottom set, 13 of their 26 have been on goal. So half of their attempts haven't even challenged Krebs in net.
Nardella wins the face-off to begin the third quarter. What's the offensive adjustment first for Maryland?
For Maryland, it's to get this guy going. Nardella, they basically split the first half, so if he could get in rhythm, he could stay on the field. He's a legit offensive player. So expect to play make it, take it, and then I want to see more of Malone in terms of his touches.
Malone has it now, defended by Bryce Young. Malone gets top side, almost snuck it past Kirst. All right, for Boston, what needs to be better besides a better shooting percentage?
That's it. I mean, you're getting looks.
Van Raphorst misses wide, but Nolting had the backup.
They're getting good quality looks. They're just missing the cage. I like what Kavanaugh has brought out of them. We haven't really seen much from Drenner and Campbell.
Drenner wheels down the alley, spins it back to Nolting.
I'm up.
Kavanaugh to Kavanaugh. How about this matchup again? Ajax Zapatello against Pat Kavanaugh. We saw that Memorial Day. Matt Campbell. Matt Kavanaugh. Nolting dangerous here as a scorer and a feeder. Nolting. What a pass. What a denial by Krebs. Krebs getting the start. Kyle Bernlohr started last week, struggled, was pulled in the first half after going 0 for 6 against the Atlas.
Beautiful pipe-to-pipe action there by Krebs, but Kavanaugh, you got to get that off quicker or a little pump to that near pipe and then reach around Krebs and go far pipe.
Campbell's fucking quick.
Zed Williams has 2 goals. Spinning, missing the cage. Rambo and Malone closest to the ball, so it'll stay with the Whips. 21 to shoot. Malone using the pick from Kahn. Now spins it back to Kahn.
Right.
Malone's got a short stick Fairman. Almost a flag. Ledman from the outside, offline, 3 to shoot.
Yeah, 2 things of note there. They had Campbell trapped on defense, so I don't know why they didn't pick with his player, Bernhard, his matchup. And then secondly, back to the Malone, it just feels like good things happen when he has the ball in his stick, just to get good looks. That Ledman 2, that's a quality look.
Campbell. Now Matt Kavanaugh. Shaded by Zapatello, the rookie out of Maryland, 3rd overall pick. Comes back up top. Matt Campbell against Ledman. Nolting. Holman bounces it in.
Just simple lacrosse here for Cannons. We're just gonna get a dodge down the alley here. You're gonna get a little bit of support. Easy throw in front, and then watch Holman inside. He's always so active. He's gonna find the soft spot in the Whipsnakes defense. There's the slide by Muller. You push it ahead. Holman finds a little space on that near pipe, flashes his stick. Knowlton throws that ball with a nice slow pace, a catchable ball, allowing Holman to track it, and then gets that stick back to the inside. That's the Cannons type of spacing that we've grown so accustomed to seeing.
Yeah, Dana mentioned earlier the synergy that Nolting and Holman have, not only on the field but off the field, and the more they play together, Dana, that's a combination. You know, we see that a lot. They're in sync, same wavelength upstairs.
Yeah, the chemistry off the field bleeds into on the field. What I think is so important about Nolting and Marcus Holman, if you're a young player, watch them. They never stop moving off the ball. What they do without the ball is just as impressive when they have the ball in their stick, and that's what makes them so elite on the offensive end.
Nolting, the question mark, had it saved by Krebs. The ricochet rolls out of bounds, and Muller was there first. And we saw that earlier today with a guy like Jeff Teat, right? We know what a great passer he is, but it's his ability to play off ball that allows that Schellenberger-Teat combination to be so dynamic as well.
And the third piece of that puzzle, Xander Dixon, him and Holman very much parallels in terms of playing similar roles. They're complementary pieces. It's how that attack unit works in synchronization.
Rambo against Epple. Epple knocks it loose. Another cause turnover by Garrett Epple, who had 3 last week. And now an unforced error by Boston. They give it right back to Maryland. A dozen turnovers for the Cannons. Here's your guy Malone. Good things happen when he's touched it. Good look there by Heacock.
It was a late closeout there by Epple, identifying Heacock was wide open.
Jackson Morrill, ice Trainer. Morrill rolls back. Trainer slips. Morrill lost the ball. Goodrich trying to jar it loose along with Epple. Still on the ground. And scooped up by Rawl. Van Rapphorst the other way. Matt Cavanaugh backpedals, and he'll wait.
And the Whipsnakes during that scramble wisely substituted off the field, so they got an extra long pole. That's where it seemed like the Cannons were going to have something cooking in transition. Whipsnakes very conservative, wisely have eliminated that.
Fardaro, Holman off the pipe. Pat Cavanaugh ran out of the box, playing midfield. Now, something to remember with Pat Cavanaugh. There was a game earlier this year against Duke. Yes, he played attack, but he took Kenny Brower up on the high wing. It's not like one of those guys who's got to be in a certain spot. He's comfortable anywhere on the field.
But my counter to that is he loves to play in the gray as Campbell buries one low angle. But just to finish the point, Cavanaugh thrives in kind of the scramble situations, the transition situations, that gray matter. He excels at. I'm just a little surprised the Cannons haven't floated it through 2 games, especially today. Week 1 fine. Let me see like a 5-minute stretch. Let me see a 5-minute stretch. Campbell, low angle, no problem. We got a tie ball game here. We were waiting for Campbell to come and show up today. He finally finished one off.
When in Rome or when in Charlotte, you can't have enough Bryce Youngs, and it is plural this weekend. Obviously, Bryce Young, #1 pick in the NFL draft a season ago, entering year 2 with the Carolina Panthers. They're in the midst of OTAs. And then we've got Bryce Young for the Boston Cannons, starting on defense, former Maryland Whipsnake.
The one thing that they have in common, besides their name, and it's a stretch.
Okay.
Isn't Maryland kind of like the Alabama of college lacrosse? That comparison's been made before. I'm not the first one to do it. I said it was going to be a stretch, Anish. Come on.
I'm just thinking in my mind how many college fan bases you're offending right now.
Oh, yeah. I mean, for sure.
You know, people seek that now.
Really?
But that's fair. Maryland, listen, perennial power. They're always in the playoffs every year. They're a fixture on Memorial Day and championship weekend, much like Alabama was under Nick Saban. Tucci! That's a big save by Krebs. He might have had another step.
But with that reset, he gives them a full clock.
Pick left on, pick right.
Colting using the pick from Drenner. Asher draws the slide. Now going up against Dunn. It's a lot of mass. Drenner against Jacobois. Drenner. That one off the side of the net, and it looks like somebody's in the crease.
I think he got caught in the sleeve there.
Jacobois up ahead to Jake Bernhardt. .6-6 game. Not a ton of offense so far.
Alone.
Krebs has 10 saves, as does Kirst. Chuck working on Rawl, who was a second-team All-Pro as a rookie last year. Undrafted, 35 in blue. Zed, and that one saved by Kirst, finally tracks it. On one bounce to Rawl. Now Matt Cavanaugh.
Like, these are the scenarios where I want Pat Cavanaugh out there. It's like a slow break, 4-on-4, 5-on-5.
Pat Cavanaugh instead out of the box, fires on the run with the right hand, too high. Cavanaugh, the 6th overall pick. Best player in the history of Notre Dame lacrosse. Nolte, best player in the history of High Point lacrosse. 3-time SoCon Player of the Year. Up top, Holman steps into one. Bullseye. That's a 2.
Another play that demonstrates the chemistry between Nolting and Holman, and Holman's off-ball prowess. You're gonna just get a little hedge here from Muller. A little hedge, and Holman's just gonna drift to this backside. And Nolting is gonna identify, he's gonna see this the whole time, and then lead Holman to glory. So Muller starts to hedge there, loses Holman for a half second. And Holman drifts, creates space, and then just uncorks one.
That's the 3rd time Nolting has found Holman. And Holman with that 2-pointer. Got him down for 4 goals, 5 points. Holman has scored the last 3. Nolting has assisted on the last 2. 8-6 now after that 2-pointer for the Cannons. Last week, they took 9 twos, only made 1. Part of that was they got down big early to the Atlas, and you got to start hunting 2s.
Find your gun!
Nolting to the cutter, Verduro, the rookie from Georgetown, by way of Princeton.
And another beautiful feed by Nolting. I got him unofficially as 4 on the day. The off-ball movement of Cannons continues. Nolting's got his defender hung up, and Vardaro just a backdoor cut with pace, with speed. That little hitch to get Krebs off of his line. Cannons 3 goals in 23 seconds.
And what was a 6-6 tie, now a 9-6 lead. A 2 by Holman, and then Nolting finding a cutting Verdaro.
And another rookie enjoying his welcome to the PLL moment, with Vardaro getting his first career goal.
Dana is with Alex Verdaro.
Alex, first career goal, how does it feel in a Cannons uniform?
It's incredible. I've been waiting for this moment my whole life. It's like 20 years in the making, and yeah, it's a dream come true.
What's it like to play with a player like Marcus?
Well, this is his 12th season, as you know. He's a veteran, so anything that I do is a byproduct of his success and his work. Same for Asher and Matt as well, so I owe a lot to him, and he makes the team a lot better.
Good stuff out there. Thanks for the time.
Thank you.
Good job by Dana not telling him that he's going to forget it in 20 years.
Yeah, Alex, remember that. Well, if he has the career that you do and that you had, then he's got an excuse to forget it. Two minutes to go, third quarter. Next week, Cannons and the Water Dogs in Philadelphia. That game will be on ABC. And there is a little bit of bad blood between those two, stemming from February and the championship series. That championship series final between those two. Now, Michael Sowers was knocked out of the game early. That got chippy. It was chippy throughout, and there were a number of players walking off that field where you kind of felt when they meet again in the summer, we could see some fireworks. That was the last game Andy Copeland coached for the Water Dogs. There's Pat Cavanaugh. Picked up by Muller. Looking for Holman. Can't handle it. Turnover. Whipsnakes looking for their first goal of this third quarter.
Yeah, they need a juice play here.
It's been very stagnant offensively for most of the game for Maryland. Morrill out of the box. Dodging on Verdaro, now it's Rambo. Morrill sets the pick. Rambo has the matchup with Verdaro. Apple picks him up. Chanenchuk from the outside, Kirst goes down to make the save. That's going to go back to Maryland.
Yeah, they're going to say withholding the ball from play.
Now over and back. Off the restart. 20 seconds to go, third quarter.
Heady play by Matt Cavanaugh at the midfield line to force that over and back.
Here's Knowlton. He's got 4 assists. He'll shoot this time. Matt Cavanaugh picks it up. 5 seconds. Back to Knowlton. They got to go. Drenner missed the cage. We go to the fourth quarter. The Boston Cannons 1 quarter away from their first win of this 2024 season. That's what we do. You don't have to try hard to do that these days.
Fight! Fight!
Nardella wins the faceoff. To the Whipsnakes, they'll find some offensive rhythm in this fourth quarter. It just has felt all evening they have not been able to get into any kind of flow, whether it's settled sets, whether it's unsettled. Ledman's a threat from the outside. He knocked into 2 last week.
Good, Eagle, Eagle, Eagle.
A lot of times you get that two-pointer, that juice goal, whether it's Chanenchuk, Ledman. Again, there's Zed Williams. That's not the shot that you want to get in a settled set.
And credit Boston defensively. You know, early on, some of those defensive breakdowns, they were giving up some easy goals. They've cleaned that up. Kirst has seen the ball much better. And from Maryland, they also, like, with Joe Nardella, you're so accustomed to them getting some juice off of those face-off wins. Tucci has been up to the task today.
Yeah, he's been okay. Tucci's 10 out of 18. Knowlton's got 4 helpers. Using that size, that vision. This time he gets inside. Krebs stands him up.
Good recovery there by Dunn. You felt like Knowlton got to his spot, was going to be able to get that shot off, maybe a little twister with his left hand. Dunn applied some ball pressure to dislodge it. Where do the Whipsnakes get anything out of their midfield? And Chanenchuk's been held in check. He's had some quality looks. Heacock's got the 1.
Lefty! Lefty!
But Kahn, Ledman, and Jacoboys.
Rambo against Apple. He gets devoured. Maryland has gone almost 16 minutes since its last goal. Holman for 2. Krebs the save. He can't find it. That was a big hit. Connor Kirst went down. Cannons get it back.
It just feels like all these 50-50 ground balls are all going to Cannons, these extra possessions. that afford them additional looks. Maryland, again, they just need some sort of juice play, some sort of energy play.
Berdaro, who scored his first goal as a pro earlier. Pat Cavanaugh weaving through, takes a hit from Heacock. No flag at the end, the goal is good. Second of the day.
Hell yeah.
We were looking for juice. You know the Cavanaughs have always got it. Second opportunity on this possession. I mean, he runs through like, I don't know, 3 or 4 guys. Heacock's lucky that that wasn't a flag, clearly after the fact. But that little kind of pump and hitch.
Where did Heacock go to school?
Maryland.
Where did Cavanaugh go?
Golden Domer.
Something happened on Memorial Day?
I mean, I think it's...
All the Maryland people are tired of hearing the name Cavanaugh, but that's 2 goals today for Pat. Great chick. Shovels it.
Another 50-50 ground ball.
Yeah. And if you look at time of possession, it's not even close.
Yeah.
Now the Cannons have been pressing downhill. They've had the ball most of this game. That's Connor Kirst.
I mean, that right there has really been the only thing that slowed them down offensively. Just
they're shooting.
Missed shots, yeah.
Yeah. They're at 21%.
On your right!
The Whips haven't shot it much better either. Nolting, feet in front, and that's Ryan Drenner. Cannon starting to pull away.
With 1 on the shot clock. Know the situation. Nolting knows. Low clock, good time to jam it inside. Little action inside. Everyone reacts to the Holman cut. Drenner just hesitates for a half second and then exploits the area directly in front of the cage before finishing with a nifty twister. Nolting almost handcuffed him a little bit. Incredible handle and then finished by Drenner.
5 assists for Nolting. As we get close to wrapping up week 2 in the PLL from Charlotte. Chaos, this was their homecoming. Credit to the Carolina fans. The Red Legion, they turned out. It felt like a home field advantage for the Chaos for their 2 games. Jules Henningberg against his old team. 4 goals in the win against the Redwoods Friday. The story of the weekend,
yes.
And maybe, depending on what happens with Denver from here on out, the story of their season could be what we saw from Brennan O'Neill last night.
A lights-out performance for the ages. I mean, haven't seen that in, like it's beyond the headline, right? That is the moment from this weekend. Brennan O'Neill blow-torching the Archers in the 4th quarter. Now, professional lacrosse, Anish. You have to do it again.
Got to do it again.
You have to do it again.
And it's going to be a few weeks until we see Brennan O'Neill again. Denver has a bye next week. Then the league has a bye the week after. So he won't play again for the Outlaws until we go to Minneapolis the end of June.
Yeah, they can't wait to play. They wish they had a homecoming weekend and got 2 in a row, and they're ready to go. And lost in the O'Neill headline. New York Atlas, 3-0. They were 2-8 all last year, plus 14. 2 of their wins are in their division, in their conference, and they have been beyond impressive.
Connor Schellenberger, Tyler Carpenter, Nardella turns this one over. Now the Atlas, Ryan, again, we're only 2 weeks into the season, so we're going off a small sample size. You got a team like the Redwoods, the Water Dogs have only played once. But early on, boy, the Atlas looked pretty tough to beat.
You look at them offensively, the 2-headed monster of Teat on the left side, Schellenberger on the right side, and then Dixon in. They just make sense, right? And then Trevor Baptiste down at the faceoff, and the return of Dox Aiken. I mean, I think
Miles Jones looks better.
Yes.
Campbell shot on the run, altered. And then again, we saw it in their game with the Chaos earlier today. You get down and late, you're trying to get possessions. They've got the ultimate stopper, Trevor Baptiste.
And on top of that, Tim Troutner, they get him to provide stability to position while they draft Entenmann. Troutner's been great.
He has. I'll give you an example. So if it was the Atlas playing the Outlaws last night, Brennan O'Neill may not get that chance because of Trevor Baptiste. As great as Brennan O'Neill was, and he was sensational, he was transcendent, you know, all the things we've said about him over the years, that generational talent, you saw it on display. Luke Weirman and his prowess at the faceoff X is what generated all those extra possessions for Denver. They played make it, take it. O'Neill scored, Weirman won the faceoff, rinse and repeat.
With the no long pull at the faceoffs, those possessions are real half possessions, and they count up and they matter. Case in point, Boston didn't dress a faceoff guy week 1. They are tonight.
And I'll say this, I may want to backtrack and give some credit to Weirman, because he did that against Mike Sisselberger, who was lights out a year ago as a rookie, was tremendous week 1.
Stay!
And Luke Weirman's a guy. You talk about steals in this draft, 4th rounder. Denver might have something.
Another caused turnover. This is the Cannons' DNA. It's cause turnovers into transition, and you keep your two-way guy out there. They dress 3 of them: Fairman, Kirst, and Trainer. So Trainer is going to stay. He's going to trap Shannon Chuck. This is a staple of what they like to do offensively.
Five-point lead. Here comes Kirst down the alley. Matt Cavanaugh to Nolting, who has 5 assists. Pat Cavanaugh, 2 goals today, along with a helper. Wanted Kirst. There's Cavanaugh like a banshee on those ground balls. Nolting, Drenner, another one. 6 dimes for Asher Nolting. Drenner's second to the game.
And I know it was a ho-hum ground ball, but that's why I think Cavanaugh's got to be out there, is because when the ball's on the turf, you know Cavanaugh's going to be around it, and then when he picks it up, you know he's going to make the smart play and exploit any sort of advantage. And in this case, it was getting the guy that is dishing helpers left and right tonight.
Whipsnakes have not scored in this second half, and team searching for offense. Let's not forget, they cut Will Manny, who was their top scorer at the end of training camp.
Let him go. They're without Tucker Dordovic. They're without Brad Smith.
And they haven't scored a goal the entire second half.
You can sense the frustration, Anish, on the sidelines of the Whipsnakes. Jim Stagnita coming out of that timeout wants more ball movement. He feels like the ball's dying on the perimeter. Not enough movement, standing and watching. Some of his sarcasm was coming out. So he's coming out in his true personality that we all know and
Ryan,
love.
you said he was mellow earlier. That's about to change.
Maybe he needs to be, because there aren't a lot of answers in terms of personnel. I mean, they're going to have Dordovic coming back at some point, but that's only their 9th shot of the entire second half.
Outside of the second quarter in this entire game, they have not really possessed the ball. Cannons have had a massive possession advantage in terms of time of possession, plus 18 on shots, and now they're just pouring it on. It's like a substitute teacher trying to host attention.
The onslaught continues. Campbell with his second of the day. And this is somebody that typically is gonna get that long pull matchup. And that nice little pick by Pat Cavanaugh. Actually, it is pole to pole. And Squires is just late jumping out on that. And Campbell doesn't need a lot of airspace to get his hands free. Heady pick there by Cavanaugh. You can tell it's Joe Nardella's first game back in a year out on the field, right?
I don't think he's been the issue.
Yeah.
Now Ledman
Good, sit, Craig.
Whips trying to get it
Right.
a goal here in the second half. They led 6-4 at halftime. 9 straight for the Cannons. That one misses the cage. Malone. And again, we haven't called Malone's name in a long time. Obviously, they haven't had the ball a whole lot, but he was one guy when he had the ball in his cross. Made some plays. Rambo's had a quiet evening. He's got a short stick matchup trainer, draws the slide. They should get one here, and they do. It's Keegan Khan.
Good action here by Whipsnakes offensively. They get the switch that they want. And somehow Rambo, this is an incredible catch by Khan. This feed by no stretch was kind of right on his stick. But Khan's somehow able to handle that, pump fake and finish. And Khan's first of the season. It's only their second goal out of the midfield today.
Still a long way from Xanadu with 3 minutes to go on the fourth. 13-7, Boston on top. Malone looking for a cutting Ledman.
Just been that kind of night for the Whipsnakes.
The next shot for Boston will be their 50th of the night. Maryland has taken 33.
Lemon, left foot, Lemon.
Drenner, 2 in the second half. Nolting's been the maestro. This is Kirst. 2:04 to go. Boston on the verge of win number 1. 7-3 last year for the Cannons after winning just 1 game in 2022. And it's easy to make that analogy in comparison to Denver. Outlaws got people's attention as Holman steps in the crease with the win against the defending champion Archers. And while Brennan O'Neill was the headliner and the showstopper and the scene stealer last night as Morrill gets a goal, Ryan, a rookie class for Denver. We were impressed by Graham Bundy's ability as a playmaker, a dodger. I mean, he could have won the game, hit the post a couple of times. And then Luke Weirman, what he did to Sisselberger at the faceoff X. There's some pieces there. The question is, when Logan Wisnauskas comes back, what do you do?
Yeah, how do you fit him in as we take one more look at this Morrill goal? How do you fit him in, and then just to build positively on the rookie class? Sawada had a nice game last night too. I thought he played well. Pacino is still kind of getting his footing. It's some nice ground balls, but haven't totally unlocked him in transition. But the Wisnauskas piece, I think you just have to figure that out. You have to figure it out. He's too talented. He's too good. He's too good of a locker room guy. Like, you can figure that piece out, whether it's 2 lefties in the same unit, which is what I would advocate for, running him out of the box. But you could do things creative to play 2 lefties.
13-8 now. Well, these are not all garbage time goals when goal differential matters, as Rambo gets one and a flag comes in.
No, and to build on that, as we get this foul call, Rambo's going to turn the corner after Khan throws back. That's a hold right there on Epple. But, you know, coming into today, the Cannons, their point differential was -7 after getting just blown out by Atlas. So they've got to maintain as much of this lead as they can. These late goals by Whipsnakes kind of chipping into that.
And Maryland came in, goal differential of -4. That's now at -8. Another flag down.
Just throw this out of bounds to get your power play.
Ledman for 2, save cursed, and it's been a minute since we've said a team is on the Rebel Bourbon power play, but here we are, Rebel Bourbon power play.
Cannon's foul. Cannon's foul. Number 4, 30-second technical, hold.
Also, taking a 2 makes way more sense than throwing the ball out of bounds. There you see the infraction on Tucci. He's played a great game tonight.
Malone off the stick of Rambo. That sums it up. Big second half by the Cannons.
Heads up. I think that one on the roof over here, Anish.
It's going to be an adventurous souvenir for somebody, but the Cannons woke up in the second half. They started firing, and Asher Nolting, we talked about it in the game. Year 3, after the season he had last year, what we saw in the championship series. He's now become a legitimate MVP candidate in this league.
This is the bounce back game that we expected out of this Cannons team, and most notably out of this Cannons offense. A career high for Nolting, 6 assists, the 1-2 punch, him with the 6 assists, Holman with the 3 goals and 1 2-pointer. That's the 1-2 punch. That's the secret sauce of this Cannons offense. They make everybody else play around them and make them better. Nolting was brilliant today. Drenner chipped in, Campbell chipped in. It's led by Nolting and Holman.